My first pregnancy, my arthritis was there, but my skin was not bad. Well, this time I had like double whammy. So I got super sick and then my skin was broken out, insane. And being pregnant, there really are no options. Already not being able to take the biologics and things like that, like there's even less options. So that was definitely the hardest. I remember worrying and like crying. I'd have panic attacks over it, like thinking that my baby would reject me because I was ugly or like he wouldn't think I was his mom. Hi, I'm India. I was diagnosed with psoriasis in 2018 and I was diagnosed with psoriatic arthritis in 2022. It has been an absolute roller coaster. From the time I got diagnosed, I didn't really know anything to now I know so much more, and I've had a lot less severe flares. I've had some really severe flares over the last few years, so it's all about learning. The end of summer 2017-ish, I was in college. I caught strep throat and I was doing a lot of outside activities, bonfires and things with my college friends, and I thought that I just had bug bites because they started as little butate spots on the backs of my legs, and then it spread to my face and my ears, and then come 2018, that winter, I was like, okay, I need to go to the doctor and figure out what's going on. So I did, and she told me that I had at first gutate psoriasis, which had been triggered by the strep throat. With psoriasis, I mean, it's just kind of they throw medication and steroids at you as their first line of treatment. So I left the office with some topical steroids. Hey, don't use this on your face, use this on your head, like that kind of thing. And I honestly stayed on the topical steroids for 7 years. I just saw a cosmetic dermatologist, we'll call it. So they do more like Botox and plastic surgery and things like that rather than medical. So I did the topicals for 7 years. It was frustrating. Using the steroids, there does come a point when they just kind of stop working or they get less effective. So over time, like I would use them and then they, my flare spots would come even more. And I'd be like, why is this not going away? And I would just tack more and more on it. And it actually got to the point where I was mixing things, which is like a big no-no. I was taking stuff and like putting like 2 different kinds of steroids on my head and on my face. And they were like, oh my gosh, like this is really bad. But I didn't know what else to do. I'm 8 years in. Last year, I caught strep throat again. I had it for a month and I had no symptoms. I didn't know. My only symptom was I broke out head to toe. And then I caught COVID and I caught 2 strains of the flu. And I went into full flare, like insane head to toe. And I had to completely stop using the steroids because they were making me so much worse. And at that time, I started UVB treatment, which is like a laser that they give you medical grade burns all over your whole body. So I was covered head to toe in blisters. And then I started taking supplements like vitamin D and turmeric and zinc, vitamin C, like a whole bunch of different stuff. And I also had a really strict diet at the time too. And now here I am, and I'm almost 100% clear. In the beginning, for many, many years, every time I would get a flare, especially the one that comes on my face, I would be so self-conscious about it and like thought I was gross. Like I hated it. I was like embarrassed to wear short sleeves or anything like that. Like just the typical, oh my gosh, I can't stand this. And then when last year hit and I was kind of like really forced to face it, I was working at a job where quite honestly, people are not always very nice. And I had customers at this bank job I was working at who would like point at me and laugh at me and say really nasty things. And I was like, I literally have to love myself and I have to just accept that this is who I am and this is a part of me. This does not define me. And that's something really big that I tell everybody on my community and my platform is like, your skin does not define you. Once that mentality just kicked in, I got better. So finding that self-love is, I think, what cleared me in the end. The big number one thing that people think when they see psoriasis is 1, that it's contagious, or 2, that it's AIDS. Psoriasis is not AIDS. It is not contagious. It is just my body attacking itself. It has, like, I can't give it to anybody. But kind of taking every opportunity that I can, like, before I would just kind of ignore it when people would make fun of me and like laugh and be like, oh yeah, but just really taking a moment to be like, nope, this is psoriasis. Let me tell you about it. This is what it is. And like I feel like that really helps people kind of understand more because of like, you know, their first knee jerk reaction is they see somebody that looks like that and they're like, oh my gosh. But once you explain that to them, at least one person, that stigma is broken. And then hopefully they can go and they can tell other people. Out of the blue one day, it was in the summertime again. I think it was my left big toe, I'm pretty sure, thinking back. Whole foot just like blew up. I could not bend my toes. I was on crutches for a week. My foot was so swollen I couldn't put a shoe on. It was crazy. So that went on for a while. I ended up getting pregnant with my daughter, and at the time they were like, "Oh, it's just pregnancy aches and pains." Well, it took like a year for me to get full proper diagnosis of the arthritis. And once I did, it was like, "Oh, yeah, all of this makes sense going back and thinking about everything." So it started out in like my fingers, my toes, and then it moved on to my hips. So my hips are the big one. I don't take any biologics or anything like that. I do have a gene defect called MTHFR, so I cannot take like methotrexate or anything like that. Um, I rely on turmeric, the supplement again, Epsom salt baths, UVB, which the UVB is like treating from the outside in, and it's crazy because while it helps your skin, it also helps your joints like immensely. And heat, like heat packs. In the beginning, I was terrified. I really thought, and at the time, people did really judge me. I did not have great people in my circle. And like I said, people are not always kind. I was like devastated when I first found out though. And over time, I just, you know, with the psoriasis, I kind of accepted it and was, like I said, forced to last year. Like, I really have to just, like, this is who I am. And I have a lot better people in my circle, and everybody just loves me no matter what my skin looks like. That's great. So, like we talked about, self-love, that's huge. And then for the arthritis, that one is still a little difficult for me sometimes. I, you know, look around at other people in their mid 20s, early 30s, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this person can go do that, you know? And if I did that for 20 minutes, like I would be in pain. So there's still some, like, I guess, longing of I wish that I didn't have arthritis, but it doesn't matter how young you are. The worst was definitely last year. I was once again pregnant. I was pregnant with my son. He's 6 months old now. But, you know, my first pregnancy, my arthritis was there, but my skin was not bad. Well, this time I had like double whammy. So I got super sick, and then my skin was broken out, insane. And being pregnant, there really are no options. Already not being able to take the biologics and things like that, like there's even less options. So that was definitely the hardest. I remember worrying and like crying. I'd have panic attacks over it, like thinking that my baby would reject me because I was ugly, or like he wouldn't think I was his mom, or like I wouldn't be able to breastfeed because like if it was on my chest too bad, like he would scratch it open or something. And it was rough. I just kept telling myself that it would get better, and like summer was coming. Sunlight is a huge thing for psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. I was like, summer's gonna come. My skin is gonna get clearer. It's clearing every day with the treatments I'm doing. Like, it's just taking time. It's going to get better. And I still had some flaring when he was born, but by the time he was like a month old, it was pretty much gone. My biggest thing is that psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis are not one size fits all treatments. That's not, oh, you have this, you have to take this medication, you have to do this, and this is your only way out. There are so many options. If biologics work good for you, then that's great. If they don't, and you're like me, then that's also great. There's lots of things that you can do. It's crazy how gut health is actually a really big factor in all of like this autoimmune stuff. So I really try and educate people on like, hey, these are some foods that you should stay away from, like gluten and nightshades, dairy, ground beef, like things like that. I also have like given people tips and tricks on like self-care, whether it's like, you know, laundry detergent or different skincare products and stuff like that. And then also just like throwing the statistics and the facts out there of like, we are the 2%, we are the 1% with psoriatic arthritis. Like, this is what you can look for if you think that you have it. Like, these are some symptoms. And I just like really tell people how it is and what it is for what it is. It's crazy to think that like something that is so not societally like normal seen. Like I've never seen anybody in real life that looked the way that I did. You know, to think that you would find self-love from that and like self-acceptance and like a better self-esteem. Most people would think that it's the opposite, but for me personally, I feel like I have so much more of a sense of self-worth because I know who I am and I know what I'm capable of overcoming and like accomplishing in some seriously dark times. Um, and it really just has like given me so much peace with myself and like this is who I am. I love myself and I'm okay with myself and that's it. With my kids, they kind of just don't know any different. So, like, there would be days last year when I was really sick, and my daughter would just be like, Mommy, do you need a band aid? You'll feel better soon. And I was like, okay, thank you. You know, like, she doesn't know. It's cute. She's trying to be helpful. But like, for them, it's normal. And I feel like, too, with them, like, seeing their mom be like this, it's going to give them more, like, awareness of people are different in life, and I should be kind to everybody, no matter what they look like. And I love that. But with my friends, they're all super supportive. I have really, really great people in my circle. None of them have ever made me feel like less than for my skin or anything that I have going on. Same with my boyfriend. He's fantastic. Last year, he was literally the one like helping me after every time I took a shower and like I needed to put on lotions or anything. And he would just be like, You're so beautiful. Like, please believe me, I promise. I don't think of you any less. Like, I think you're so pretty. And I'm like, how could you think I'm pretty right now? But thank you so much. So he's fantastic. I love him so much. But yeah, I have some really great people. I've never, like, I don't need to worry about them judging me for any of this. I have to be careful, especially with my diet. I know that there's a direct link big time for me with diet. So I have pretty much cut out dairy. I've not drank a glass of milk in 8 years. I will not. But like ground beef is really rough for me. So I know in my brain if I eat these things, like it's coming. And I'll be honest, I am flaring right now a little bit. And it's because I've been trying a new protein powder and I knew that that was going to happen. So I bought plant-based protein powder in case it did. So, you know, it's in moderation. I always say your skin does not define you. Your joints don't define you. Your autoimmune disease does not define you. You're still you. Like, I'm still a mom, a friend, a girlfriend, a daughter, granddaughter. Like, I'm all these things. Like, I just have psoriasis. I am not psoriasis and arthritis. Like, it's just part of me. Like I said, your skin doesn't define you. That's my biggest one that I plaster everywhere. And you can have such a successful, happy, fulfilling life with an autoimmune disease. It does not have to be like an end of the world thing.